Hello everybody, and of course welcome to the second game of this weekly ESPL series final between Denial Esports and Hehe. I've been informed it is Hehe with a schwa, which, I mean, if you know what that means, please let me know, but nonetheless it's gonna be Hehe. I'm Briefcase, along with my lovely co-caster Mito.
What's up guys, and as a co-caster, schwa refers to the mid-center vowel sound.
So is it Hue?
Team Bhutanized.
Bhutanized. Alright, Bhutanized it is. That's what it shows up in the draft. Not that you can see it, folks, but gonna be calling it maybe Team Bhutanized. I'm sure Hue will show its face later, nonetheless. But nonetheless, let's get right into it and see exactly how this is going. Of course, $100 on the line, and if Team Bhutanized, Team Hue gets it, that's $100. They're going to be $100 richer, not to mention some fine league points to hopefully get them to the main event come March. But like I was saying, let's jump into the draft. What do you think of these bans and pickups, Mito? Anything coming to mind?
Well, okay, Bhutanized loves their Enchantress. That's the first thing that comes to mind. They don't care about the Nyx Assassin. Yeah, it's pretty funny when a Nyx Assassin is in Vendetta mode and tries to attack Enchantress with full levels of Untouchable. It's literally impossible to get that attack out if Enchantress is on the move. But this time, the first two bans from both sides are pretty generic, pretty standard. So yeah, there's not much to be said as of now because I love the way both teams drafted. They've given nothing away about how they want to run this lineup. They don't let the enemy team know, hey, it's gonna be a push strat, it's gonna be a what kind of strat. But some of the lanes are starting to form. Like Invoker, you expect him to go mid. Elder Titan probably the offlaner. Timbersaw an offlaner, or like you might have Timbersaw mid, Nyx Assassin offlane, or vice versa. And Nyx Assassin, it's such a great hero. I love this hero. It's versatile. It can be a support, a mid solo, or offlaner, and it's mid game like ganking abilities, as well as at late game using Nyx as a scout for your team if you're trying to buy time. Yeah. So it's a great pickup.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. And obviously Denial Esports banning out that Alchemist right off the bat, and I think that's completely and utterly the right move, seeing just how potent and how useful he was that last game. And I mean, you just don't want to deal with that pretty much ever, and as everybody just said, you as well, it's just Alchemist seems a little OP right now, and a Storm Spirit now being picked up, so I mean, that's not going to be a mid Nyx Assassin, my friend, or probably not even mid Timbersaw, although we did see that farming Storm not too long ago, and that did pan out, I think, fairly well for them.
5 seconds remaining.
Yep. So, the now esports, their lanes are still history. But, I mean, I would place my bets on it's going to be a mid-storm, offlane Timbersaw, or support Nyx Assassin. That seems like the optimal choice for me. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and
something...
do you think that right now, I mean, obviously there's 2 more slots available, do you think Bhutanized Team Hehe has the lockdown available to take down Storm? Because obviously Enchant doesn't. She might go Orchid, though, which could be a pretty big boon to trying to kill Storm. But once again, not too many stuns going their way, and with Nyx Assassin and Storm Spirit on Denial, it looks like they're leading in the crowd control area.
Yeah, Enchantress getting the Orchid, that has to come a lot later, because Storm is going to be played as a core. Whereas Enchantress, most of the time, it suffers a little because it has to buy smoke, buy his observers, and just help his... Like, he's not played as either the mid or the safe lane farmer, so he's not going to get as much. Yeah, so Storm should be fine up against the Enchantress. But what I was thinking about was, how come teams, whenever they see junglers, they don't think about heroes like Clinks or Bounty Hunter anymore? Yeah, I mean, those heroes they have the ability to shut down junglers really efficiently, especially if, like, say Clinks gets to level 6 finds Enchantress with a bunch of summons, eats one of the big creeps, and then just start dishing out the deeps on Enchantress. Or just having a Bounty Hunter go directly into jungle and just stick around, leech off some XP.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Nobody seems to really favor or appreciate those disruption style of heroes like Bounty Hunter. He goes in and steals the experience and can harass pretty much every 50 or 30 or so seconds with that Janata proc and the Shadow Walk proc, but just seems like that's not the route that a lot of people want to take nowadays. And now a Razor, actually, of all things, being picked up, and for me, this seems like a pretty odd pickup. Storm Spirit obviously can get away pretty easily from Razor, Timbersaw as well, and I mean his potency really comes from Static Link, and with 2 of the 3 heroes pretty easily able to get out of there in time, it's for me it seems like an odd pickup.
Well, it might be an alternative idea of a push, because like we saw, Bhutanese, they love to run push strats. And Razor with Aghanim Scepter, well, that's gonna do quite a lot of damage to towers as well. And then you put in a Refresher Orb on top, then yeah, towers will go down as fast as a Tiny.
That is true, actually, but now a Disruptor, and this is like my favorite pickup so far, I think. I absolutely love this hero. Give him an Ags and just set him loose. Whew.
Oh yeah, and whoever's gonna be the offlaner for Bhutanese is gonna be in a lot of trouble. You can't really back out, and even if you can blink away, you just get glimpsed right back to where you were, setting up an easy stun for Nyx Assassin. But looking at the now Esports and seeing how they like to grab big heroes, I wouldn't be surprised if they pick a Naga Siren. Naga Siren isn't banned. They can bail out all their teammates if they get initiated upon, and it sets up the Disruptor ultimate perfectly.
Oh yeah, so of course that sounds like a really viable pickup, and I think you've hit the nail on the head as far as just what would be really viable, really strong right now. Disruptor, I mean, I just love this guy, but against an Elder Titan, like you were saying, if you try to back out, you're gonna have a hard time. Elder Titan, though, is still gonna be able to find some farm with those Astral Spirits. Maybe not as much experience as you would normally expect an off-lane Elder Titan to be able to get, but I mean, nonetheless, he will be able to still get some farm, and he's one of the only heroes that can kind of consistently do that against someone who's even as scary as a Disruptor.
Yeah, I'm pretty intrigued by Bhutanese lineup. This is a hero with no stable initiation. Razor, oh no!
Boom!
Wow, this is big. This is really big. Naga Siren, holy crap! Now I'm starting to understand the lineup, and I understand how everything works. Wow, if Razor gets a Static Link, and then Naga pulls off the sleep, and then Elder Titan does the follow up, and Invoker does his Meteor Blast. Wow, this is gonna be painful, like if they manage to execute their lineup.
Oh, this seems to be one of those rare situations where Naga Siren, or just one hero in particular, fits perfectly into either lineup. And now I'm sure Denial is just kicking themselves, thinking, you know what, we're gonna take Naga, it's gonna be perfect, and now she's gone. It's like, they have to scramble, I bet, right now to find who they really need.
Silencer. I would say Silencer. Like, every fight just have Silencer stand far out. Naga pops asleep. Oh wow. And they respond with the SF.
I mean, not a bad response by any means, though. Naga Siren, as soon as she does get that sleep, if SF, I should say, pops the BKB beforehand, he can always ult. Or as soon as Naga Siren's done, you can usually shift queue up that BKB and ult as well, and you'll still get it off.
Oh yeah, so the core... For Denial, in order for them to live through those damage, the first and utmost important thing is getting the BKB up on the core heroes. They need it on the SF and on Storm, and Timbersaw as well, or just any hero possible. And once they do have those BKBs, then they will be able to do a lot more.
Oh yeah, but let's get into who's playing who. This time, you know what? I'm going to take the Radiant. I've given you the Radiant every single other time. I'm taking Denial right now. Looks like we're going to have Ceylan going to be playing this Timbersaw, exiled as the Nyx Assassin. Defect going to be this Disruptor with, of course, the most handsome of handsome beards. And looks like DK going to be the Storm Spirit this time around, and a farming Shadow Fiend actually on the bot lane here, played by Smurf. And my buddy Mito, would you like to take these Hehes?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a moment playing the Enchantress. We have Hua playing as the safe lane carry Razor. We have Natural, or sometimes we gotta ask him how to pronounce the names. But he's gonna be playing as the mid solo Invoker, and Chip is gonna be playing the support Naga Siren. And finally, we have Hehe playing the off lane Elder Titan.
Oh yeah, and I mean, what do you think of these lanes right off the bat? You have your farming Shadow Fiend, not actually going mid, obviously, it's going for the Storm, and really, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as I can see, those two heroes are maybe the only ones you would think would be interchangeable right now in these lineups. Do you think that having Shadow Fiend on the bot farming over the Storm is preferable, or, I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
It really depends. I would say this isn't a bad idea, because you gotta ask yourself, who does more work at mid? Who can help you set up, initiate ganks and whatnot? And in that sense, Storm is definitely the better of the two. And just getting that BKB, like, I mean, Storm can always roll out of trouble most of the time anyhow. But SF, if you don't get that BKB ASAP, he's gonna struggle against the Naga Siren combo.
Oh yeah, very true. I mean, for me, I was mostly just worried about whether or not a Disruptor and Shadow Fiend combo could find any kills, could really zone somebody out. But I mean, Elder Titan, it doesn't really matter. He's always going to get zoned out no matter what with a Disruptor here. So I guess it doesn't really matter. Not even sure that if a Storm Spirit was there, would they be able to actually kill him anyways. And it looks like Hua actually.
The good thing is,
did he pull the creep wave?
Wow. I think Sealand was the one that pulled the creep wave.
And now Chip has gone to the mid. DK in a heap of trouble. There's an entangle as well. And where's the body blocks? A moment with some beautiful body blocks out of this troll, guaranteeing the first blood for Hehe. So they're coming out atop already. And it looks like Exiled went down here to stack up for... Oh, no, not even a stack, but went down here to check out what was going on. And DK paying because of it.
Yeah, the rotations coming out from a moment on the Enchantress has been beautiful every single game. The dual roaming are so efficient, and I think...
And now Defect in a heap of trouble. Nihis has really been loving to get this Echo Stomp. There's an Entangle as well. An Entangle as well coming out of Naga Siren, so Effect now gonna fall because of that little bit of extra damage from Astral Spirit going to Elder Titan. So these rotations coming out of these two supports is just ridiculous.
Yeah, wow, they're just so efficient. There's no other ways of putting it. They got a kill at mid, first blood, and then rotates bottom, picks up another kill, and now they have a ward behind the tower, just watching in who's around.
Oh yeah, and I mean, not only that, one thing I just want to bring up is Nihis, he's been absolutely loving getting more points in Echo Stomp, and it's actually been paying off for them pretty well, it seems. I mean, a new meta, Mito? What do you think?
Well, it's not so new as old. I remember people getting Echo Stomp all the time, a very long time ago when Elder Titan first came out, until they realized how much that nuke does.
Ooh, the Ensnare falls on Defect, but I didn't think he was actually going to fall here. And it looks like they are actually able to get a moment into that little field, but it might not be enough. He's got some healing wisps, of course. Not going to be doing too much. DK does rotate down here. Now it looks like Chip trying to make something happen, but Nias with some huge stapler hits coming out. And DK, once again, in a bit of a pickle. Exile just doesn't quite know what to do as well. Defect, not too sure either. Doesn't have any glimpse, only has one in kinetic field. And, I mean, Hehe picking up, just playing magnificently with these these rotations. And it looks like Chip slowly chasing down DK. 295 to 320 move speed. DK can't quite kill him, and now in runs Defect. What is Chip going to do? Doesn't have a TP, and he's going to have to do some pretty sweet jukes here. Stun lands on nobody. He tries to eat his way through, but he's still stuck a little bit. Can he get away? It doesn't look like it. Denial right on his tail, has a mana burn, of course, not going to be too efficient, and it looks like they finally do get their first kill of the game, and it goes to Smurf.
Wow, but it took quite a long time. And at top, Sealand is struggling against this Razor with the static link, like just stealing all his damage. Wow. So yeah, the Razor was a really smart pick because it is a great counter to Timbersaw during the laning phase.
I just feel like Razor, I wouldn't even call him a counter. He's just so incredibly strong during the laning phase. So few heroes can actually deal with him, especially just one-on-one. I feel like you're always going to have a bad time.
Well, blinkers will do fine. Even a slug will do fine. Just get out of the range whenever he static links you, and then just jump right back in.
Now it looks like we have a couple of ganks, maybe gonna collide heads right in the middle right now, and DK does get the ensnare off, but there's that kinetic field. Is there any sort of backup though? Exile does get a stun off, Smurf TP's in, but they just don't have the damage or especially lockdown to get anybody at all, and with, I mean, a moment having this Urn of Shadows, also has Wisps, it's kind of just pretty even in that regard, but you do have Nihis, he's farming bot. It looks like Razor's doing a little bit better up top comparatively to this Timbersaw, and Smurf that whole time isn't farming at all. Despite the fact that neither of those ganks really made anything happen, I feel like it still went to the favor of Hehe.
Yeah, wow. Like, when your carry player, who's level 4, is forced to rotate mid so early on, 5 minutes into the game, that just spells trouble. Like, it... Essentially, once again, I'm struggling to think of ways they can come back into the game. They've essentially lost all 3 lanes due to the support rotations coming out of Bhutanese. And they're just playing beautifully, like the Enchantress with the Naga Siren. Wow. They're really making it work.
Well, I mean, it seems like they, and as we've seen throughout these drafts, they've really absolutely loved this Enchantress pickup, and I mean, rightly so. It looks like they just combo with anybody who has a fairly good stun or ensnare or what have you, and it just leads to so many kills and such dominant rotations that it's just really propelling them to victory. And I think this Enchantress has been one of the key players in pretty much every game we've seen Hehe play. And now there's another ensnare. Sunstrike as well, just takes too much damage, Smurf melts, and now it looks like Chip is all over Defect. A glimpse right back to tower though, so it looks like Chip will fall here. The tower actually deciding not to attack him, a moment taking the aggro, so let me eat my own words. I mean, Chip making it home A-okay.
Wow, if you look at the level difference, right? All 3 of the core heroes, like the main hero on each lane, are all level 7. And wow, your carry SF is level 4, whereas the off-lane Elder Titan is already level 7.
Oh yeah, I mean, things look rough, and then Nyx Assassin just getting punched by Elder Titan for the finish. And I mean, these rotations, they're just continuing their domination right now because of it. It's really getting to be a little bit scary and just, I mean, hard to deal with right now. And like you actually called up top, by the way, this Razor quickly into the point booster, obviously good against Timbersaw and just sustaining through the burst, but I mean, that's going to be an early Ags if I've ever seen one.
Oh yeah, Aghanims they love the minus armor and they love the tower pushing abilities. That's what I noticed. Yeah, Aghanim's Scepter on Razor.
Now it looks like they're making something happen on Chip, and maybe they shouldn't be this ballsy right now. I was just gonna say that these two supports feeling pretty much no pressure from anybody, feeling really confident in that they can survive almost any engagement, but clearly do not have the HP pools or the EHP to make that happen, and I mean, that just shows it.
Yeah, and if you look at Denial Esports, look at the jungle. They planted their own wards on the magic bush. They don't want to pull. They just want to say, hey, we don't want any creeps to be like spawning in our own camps, because this Enchantress is just so annoying to deal with.
Now DK trying to make something happen on Nihis. There is a kinetic field to make sure he's stuck there for a little while. Glimpse always available. Not sure if you can glimpse, but has not been echo stomped. There's the glimpse back, so a lot of spells, pretty much the entire gamut from these two heroes used just to kill that one that one Elder Titan, and now because of it, DK gonna fall to the Sunstrike. Defect gonna be in a tough situation. No impetus though to guarantee that kill. Little Enchantress Illusion almost finishing it off, but now they don't have a way. Denial doesn't really have a way to chase these heroes down by any means. So, I mean, gonna get away scot-free. Hehe picks up a kill for a kill, not the end of the world. And while that's happening, you have Natural. He's just farming in the mid. You have Razor farming up top, and it just really seems like Hehe getting more out of this map than Denial is right now. And if you look at the gold graph, it is incredibly telling. A very consistent and linear line straight down to about 4,000 advantage in favor of them. And now it actually looks like Chip in a bit of a sticky situation, giving up a free kill for almost nothing. And maybe just having a bit too much hubris in their support rotations.
Oh, you gotta give them credit, man. They played so well during the early game. Well, their support just weaved across the map and just put so much pressure to the point where, like, look at that bottom play where Enchantress and Nagasiren dove Storm Spirit. It forced out like double TPs from Denial, and that just left the top and mid, like, just allowed Bhutanized Gaming allowed them to just free farm away.
Now it looks like we have a smoke going on up top. DK is, of course, the initiator. Does get into Hua. No ult popped yet. Nothing by any means, and too much burst coming out. So, I mean, Denial still in this game by all means. Finding those pickoffs, using those smokes pretty efficiently, and it's kind of gotten to the point now where this Naga Siren and Enchantress combo, they're not quite as potent as they once were. The laning phase is, you know, it's starting to peter out, and people can play a little bit more conservatively, and now Defect in a horrible situation will fall. Was actually massive, just miles behind the tower. Doesn't even matter. The 4 staff and little Alpha Wolf there, just too much for him to handle.
Oh man, that PP almost scared me. I thought for a second I thought I saw GG, and I was like, holy crap, 10-minute please. Yeah, so I just want to look at the item differences right now. So a Moment has an Urn of Shadows with almost 1400 gold. Razor, wow, is that okay? So he has an Ogre Club on the courier, and Invoker. Yeah, so one thing I noticed is Bhutanized Gaming, they don't like getting those Hand of Midases. They just like putting on the pressure, and this is just a great style of Dota. It's so enjoyable to watch. Executions have been beautiful. Their movements and the way they pressure towers. Yeah, I'm learning a lot just by watching as well.
Oh yeah, because I mean, why use that? It basically just seems like Bhutanized Hehe's thinking is why use that gold to farm up more when you can just apply a lot of pressure. Now DK, in a bit of a tough situation, can always ult out of that ensnare though, unless I'm mistaken, but I'm sure that he can. You can ball lightning out of ensnare, right?
Yeah, you can.
Oh yeah, totally.
No, you can't ball out of it, but you can ball lightning. But wherever you end, you'll still be under the
Well, yeah,
the
but you're not stuck in the same spot, so it's really a-okay. And it looks like actually we have an engagement on the bot. Lan able to pick up a kill on the Enchantress, and well, of course, Enchantress having a lot of ability to sustain in fights. The healing wisps, the untouchable, can't deal too well with burst, and that Timbersaw really using that to his advantage.
Radiant's top tower is under
Wow,
attack.
even the support Naga Siren is taking on the SF.
Now a Moment, can't quite get there in time to get the slow. It looks like one impetus though might have been the end of it, and while that's all happening, you have Hua and Naturel just taking down this tower quite easily, making Razor get all that much closer to that Aghanims. And I mean, he's got the Ogre Club coming now. Looks like Exiled a little bit too far forward, takes about half HP, does get the Spike Carapace out, but it's probably not going to be enough to really do anything, and now actually just has to hang back, make sure that nobody basically gets onto him and kills him right away, and with that, I mean, Hehe, they're just happy to go back, farm up a little, maybe get this Razor his Ags, and then really start the pushes and continue the pressure going on.
Well, the good thing about Denial's lineup, once they all get level 6, they become slightly harder to kill. I mean, Nyx Assassin has Vendetta, Storm can always roll away, Timbersaw can Timber Chain. So this is, in a sense, good for them. They can start splitting up and pushing individual lanes. And when they do that, it might split up Bhutanized. And if Bhutanized decide to go for a 5-man gank, if they don't go for a push, then Denial can capitalize on that and have multiple, like, 2 out of 3 core heroes just farming away.
Yeah, it looks
And
like we
if Bhutanized does...
have an engagement on bot, but nothing coming of it. But please continue.
Yep. Yeah, if Bhutanized splits up, Denial's heroes, they have very strong pick-off potentials. Just any 2 of these heroes, just have a Nyx Assassin paired up with a Timbersaw, or have Storm pair up with a Timbersaw, or even Storm pair up with Nyx Assassin. These 2, any of these heroes can get pick-offs easily. And hopefully that's what they're looking to do, as well as trading towers constantly.
Oh yeah, and it seems like that's kind of the way they're trying to play this right now. Not to mention that Disruptor, you pair him with anybody and, you know, they might have a chance of getting away, but probably not. Now, it actually looks like Ceylan in a bit of trouble. Hua, though, is here. Ensnare can't quite get it off in time to cancel that TP, so... I mean, is able to get out of there with his life. Not doing too badly by any means.
Yeah. I feel right now, though, the scoreboard, right? It's 6-7. It doesn't do the game justice.
Now Chip, caught in the middle between 2 heroes. There's the Vendetta, gets the stun as well, Storm as well, and it looks like DK zipping in just to guarantee that kill. Not too sure it was completely necessary, but that is A-okay, and it actually looks like they're just getting Enchant. They just love this Enchant, tanking that Roshan, doing it very, very easily. They don't even have a medallion, and they're just happy to continue and go fighting, and Hua has actually picked up his Ags. They can kind of start the push, and it looks like they know it. This is a really nice little timing of theirs. Hua's picked up his Ags, they get the Aegis, and then that push becomes incredibly scary. Not to mention Invoker picked up his Boots of Travel. I mean, just terrifying now.
Yeah, well, it's not good, but at the same time, Denial, they are getting their breathing room. They went for the Roche, so... Bhutanized went for the Roche, so Denial went for the split push. And anytime Bhutanized is forced to group up as a team, that's more time for some of the core heroes in Denial Esports to farm up. If they can get the BKB on Storm as well as the SF, they will be able to take fights.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Oh yeah, so I mean, now that they have the Aegis, it looks like Invoker working on that Necro, I want to say, has because of that Belt of Strength. I mean, I guess Denial pretty happy to try and trade these towers, though, with Exiled up top, Defect as well, along with Smurf. Looks like they're just happy to trade the bot for the top if they can. Not too sure about it. Could see a lot of TPs come out from this Dire team to get back there and really defend it. And of course, with Naga Siren, you're pretty much guaranteed that you'll be able to defend it. But that tower up top still dropping pretty quickly.
Yeah, but it's not quick enough though. If Bhutanized continues to push, they will be forced to go back and defend. And this is one fight that's going to be very, very difficult to defend. Naga Siren already has Song of the Siren, so if they dare come close, we all know what's going to happen.
Now Exiled very, very far forward, gets ensnared, does have the spike carapace though, and it just seems like Denial, they just really need to stop this push. That'll give them at least enough breathing room to maybe get their BKBs if they can. If they can repel it, if they can get maybe a couple kills under their belts as well. And it just seems like Hehe wants to continue up this siege. They do have a lot of sustain available, of course. They have that urn. Naturel has the Aegis. I mean, they can just continue to fight here, and that means, like you said, it means that Denial isn't getting farm on their mains. It means that they're not getting those BKBs any sooner. And so, pretty much as long as they siege, it just seems like Hehe has a clear advantage the entire time.
Yeah, but Denial Esports, their positions are impeccable. They're just spreading out far enough, so there's no chance for the Naga Sleep to come in. But yeah, Naga is just going to continue looking for the opportunity to make things happen. The moment heroes stand too close together, that's that would be the initiation.
And it just feels right now like Hehe, they're just slowly sieging this tower. They've already got it to about half HP, and all they need to do is continue to do this eventually until it falls. And then, like you said though, if Denial ever does group up, if they ever do try to make basically try and take this fight, all they need is a Naga sleep to either get them out of there or to set up some big skills. And now with the Razor ult and the Ags doing a lot of work here, it's just like the TP out, or I should say the rotations mid. I mean, clearly you can't even do that. So this is a really slow siege right now, and it seems like Denial, they don't have the BKBs that they need right now to take these fights and really get into the thick of things. And Hehe is just abusing that tremendously.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time before the tower goes down, and then they can start forcing out engagements because they've managed to gain ground on the high ground. So,
I mean, this tower now in deny range. Pretty much never want to though. And then DK is popping in there. There's a nice little static storm on a few. Looks like Invoker Aegis has popped, but that's exactly what they want. The Song of the Siren now being used. Do they have any backup? Split Earth going right down the middle. Is it going to land? Does indeed. Lands on 3. Smurf now absolutely melting. Can't quite do what he wants. Saylan is in the background trying to do as much damage as humanly possible, but 4 heroes die. 5, all 5 die. 3 buybacks coming in though. Smurf, can he turn the tide? Not too sure about it. Naturel, of course, having that Aegis, he's back up, doing whatever he can, but now he's getting sucked up as well. And it looks like they might be able to find something. Echo Stomp actually doesn't land on Saylan, but Nihis just doing a huge amount of damage with that Stapler Punch. Looks like Ice Wall might be enough to bring him back, but DK, does he have enough mana to really track down anybody? And he decides that he actually can't. So, I mean, Hehe, they get it. Actually, they didn't get the tower. I thought for sure they did. Sunstrike doesn't land. Ever so sad, but the tower at 42 HP. It's not regening anytime soon. And it looks like, is Defect just going to go for this deny? Not too sure. And, I mean, Hehe, they lost the Aegis. Only a few of them died, not all of them. And you got a lot of buybacks out of Denial. I mean, it's got to be going in their favor. And not only that, just these Forge Spirits alone should be able to clean up this tower.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Was it worth it, though? Was it worth it, Invoker?
Invisibility.
I don't really know. I think probably not. Maybe, but apparently he thinks it's worth it.
Well, I mean, when everything's said and done now, after that long siege, it just seems like now, because Denial, they haven't lost the racks at the very least. Some beautiful play coming out of them there. Lots of buybacks as well. They do have a little bit of extra space now. They did spend a lot of their money on those buybacks and just dying in general, but they do have space now to get those BKBs, and once they do, I think it's going to blow this game, I shouldn't say wide open, but a little bit bigger for them. If you look at the gold, though, I mean, still very indicative of how this game has been going. Hehe sitting at almost a 10,000 gold advantage. And will they find this Coco the Courier? Can't quite get it, and Impetus not doing its damage to it. But as far as the gold is concerned, almost about 10k in favor of them. As far as the experience, still almost dead even, however. So Denial still very, very in this game at the moment.
Wow, but Razor's pretty close to the Refresher Orb. And once he picks up the Refresher Orb, wow, like, I have my doubts whether Denial will be able to hold off the push.
Looks like Enchanters with some beautiful little micro there, sending the Troll Summoner there, just getting the kill on the Courier, so pretty nice. And now it looks like Nihis in a little bit of trouble. Might have Echo Stomp available, but they need to basically wait it out. Where's the stun? Does land in the last seconds, but Nihis actually moving pretty quickly, but a lot of bursts coming down. And now with that Split Earth, is it going to catch anybody? Actually only just gets Defect, but getting a pick off, spending a lot of time doing it though.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
So I'm guessing the next step for Bhutanized Gaming is to just start pushing bottom, or just wait for a little while for Razor to get his next item. Yeah. And once they do have the Refresher Orb, just getting the Razor to go in. Or maybe they might even wait for the Aegis to respawn. It's almost up. Just have the Razor go in, take the Aegis, stand in the front lines, and just cast 2 Eye of the Storm.
Oh yeah, and I mean, Naturel, he's also finished off his Necro 3 now as well, and that's one of those I was gonna say items, one of those items that, yeah, BKB will help against it, but it's not gonna solve all your problems against it, and just gives them even more ability to do that slow siege that they've been loving to do. And now actually, I quite like this little creep that a moment has picked up. The Ogre Frost Mage, I think, completely People just don't give that creep enough credit. The extra 8 armor out of this ice armor and move slow, just tremendously good.
Yep. The only problem with the Razor right now is his HP pool is too low. But just having that 8 frost, just getting that armor from the Ogre Frost Mage helps him just tank a little bit more and negates the SF's President of the Dark Lord aura.
Oh yeah, now it looks like actually they could make an engagement on here if the Song of the Siren was used. Could make something happen. But deciding actually against it, they don't have the Invoker right now. Could port in. Nihis isn't there as well. He's just farming up the enemy jungle. Now the Necro 3 is out. BKB up as well, though, for the Storm. So both him and the Shadow Fiend have finally gotten their BKBs about 10 minutes later than Hehe did when they had their Shadow Fiend. But I mean, this
different circumstances.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, this might be enough to kind of get them back into the game, let them take some of these fights. And now Exiled is definitely getting seen, of course, by these Necronomicons. But in runs DK. Doesn't look like they have any way to actually deal with it. But DK taking an obscene amount of damage from these summons. Wouldn't be surprised to see a Sunstrike falling anytime soon. And it looks like they're going to try and maybe juke it around a little bit. But nonetheless, Disruptor gets the deny on the tower, so not too bad. Nice stomp on 2, however. Defect seems to be in a heap of trouble. In comes Naturel. Doesn't look like he invoked anything he could actually use. Everything on cooldown still. And while that's all happening, you do have Hua just farming away. He's got his Refresher now. He's got his Ags. He basically just needs a little bit more HP to really become this horrible tower killer that not too many people can deal with. And I mean, you always do just have Naga Siren ult if something gets a little hairy. So I mean, Hehe in a very nice position right now, taking even more map control.
Yep, and they're very well aware that Roshan has respawned. They're probably going to rotate to Rosh right now and take the Rosh and then start forcing a push at bottom and start taking some racks.
Oh yeah, I think pretty much guaranteed of that right now. Doesn't look like they have. Oh, they actually do have a medallion up on this Naga Siren, so it's going to fall incredibly quickly. And it's such a shame that Denial doesn't, or can't really get there in time, or doesn't feel like they can actually contend with this, because you really do want all these heroes grouped up for most of your spells on Denial. You have your Timbersaw, you have your Disruptor with Static Storm. Those are the spells you really do want to be able to land in a Roche Pit. And with just a Naga Siren, though, you're pretty much guaranteed that you're never going to get the team fights that you want, though.
Oh, yeah. Whoa.
Now they have smoked up, though. Nobody with a blink available right now, but it looks like there will be an engagement. Denial does run in. Do they have any Necronomicons down? Static Storm down immediately. Naga Siren absolutely melting. Looks like Denial finally finding the engagement they wanted, though. But can they keep it up? It looks like they can. Enchantress does fall as well. Hua not using that Static Storm. And it looks like Invoker, Naturel, able to run out of there. A nice Ice Wall right in the middle of everything. And that Ice Wall and Necronomicon combo doing an obscene amount of work. Defect just trying to make sure that he himself doesn't die. And Razor finding a kill against Timbersaw has used his double storm. And now he is just chasing him down. And it looks like DK in a heap of trouble. Absolutely melting to those lightning strikes. And with this, I mean, are there any buybacks available? Yes, there is one for Storm Spirit, one for Timbersaw as well. They might need to use those up if they can get in and protect these racks.
Radiant's bottom barracks are
Yeah, it should be fine until the Creeper actually pushes in. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
so
backdoor
the
protection.
Region,
Never mind.
yeah. But if the creeps were there, that would have been a range Rex for sure.
Oh yeah. So what were you saying? I interrupted you a whole lot.
Oh, I was gonna say was, once Denial Esports, after that Aegis, right? I was gonna say, yeah, this is a fight that I'm really looking forward to. I think that was the turning point. Yeah, they did do quite well in that fight, but ultimately, Razor, DD, and a farmed Invoker, the juking potentials are just pretty scary, as well as the damage output. So.
Oh yeah, and I mean, Hehe, now they have this Alacrity Necronomicon Warrior. It is just chopping down this tower as if it were a tree, and I mean, Razor's ult doing a huge amount of work as well. Denial, Exile just running in with the Spike Carapace, trying to stun everybody. And you know what? Now that Split Earth is going to do an obscene amount of work. Lands on 4. What can they do? Static Storm is down, making sure Nihis doesn't do too much. DK tries to find whatever kills he can, get the Razor, but that is a full team wipe, and it looks like Hehe having a pretty good time. I don't know if DK can really stop this, and there's the GG. 2 games going in favor of Hehe, and they are your ESPL Weekly Series champs this time around, everybody. So thank you all for tuning in. I have been Briefcase, of course, bringing this game to you, and along with my lovely co-caster Mito.
Thanks for watching, guys.
And if anybody heard that little tap-a-tap, that would be my parents actually knocking at my window right next to me. So I have to go deal with that, but the stream will be up for a little bit. It's going to be closing. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. It looks like Team Hehe gets a $100 and a bunch of league points. So thank you, everybody, once again, one final time. And I think that'll be about it for today. So I'll see you all next week.